Today on Sugar Spun Run, I'll be showing you how to make the ultimate creamy potato soup. Hey everyone, Sam here, and today I am so excited to be sharing this creamy potato soup recipe with you. I originally shared this over on the blog probably over a year ago, and since then it has gotten so many 5-star reviews. It's actually gotten fan mail. People love this soup. I figured it was about time I make a video for it, so you are in for a treat today. Now, the first thing you're going to need for this soup is a large pot. I like to use my Dutch oven. It's a good size. It's got a nice heavy bottom, so it's going to be great for this soup. Let's go ahead and take this over to our stovetop. Now, the first ingredient that you need for this potato soup is 6 strips of bacon. As you can see, I've gone and cut mine into about bite-sized pieces, and we're just going to go ahead and put this into our large pot. This bacon is key for giving the soup such a good flavor. We're gonna cook it down and then we're gonna cook our soup in a little bit of that grease. So good. So we're just gonna turn our stovetop heat to medium at this point. We're just gonna cook that bacon until it's nice and crisp and cooked all the way through. Now, once your bacon is cooked, we're actually gonna remove this from the pot, and I like to transfer it onto a paper towel lined plate. Obviously, we don't wanna get rid of our bacon. We're just gonna set it aside, and we're going to leave that grease that's left in the pot. We're gonna leave that in the pot. You're not going to want to drain it. Now we're going to be adding 3 tablespoons of butter and 1 medium-sized onion that we've gone ahead and chopped up. We're just going to cook this butter and this onion together over medium heat until that onion is nicely cooked and translucent. This is going to take about 3 to 5 minutes. Now let's add our garlic. You are going to need 3 cloves of garlic, and you want this to be nicely minced. This is about a heaping tablespoon of minced garlic. We're going to add this into our pot. And we're just gonna cook this until it's nice and fragrant. That's just gonna be about 30 seconds of cooking that garlic. Make sure you stir it in there with that butter and the onions. The next thing you're going to need is 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour. I'm just gonna sprinkle this over my ingredients that are already in the pot. And I'm gonna use my spoon to just work that into the rest of the mixture. It's gonna work in with that butter and that onion. You want it to be nice and smooth. This is going to give our soup a nice creamy base. It's gonna be a great foundation for this creamy potato soup. The next thing you're going to need is your potatoes. So I like using Yukon Gold potatoes for this recipe. I do usually peel them, though that's kind of a personal preference. You do, however, want to make sure you cut them into pieces no larger than 1 inch. You want them to cook evenly, so you want all your potato pieces to be around the same size. We're going to add these into our pot. Next, we're going to be adding our liquid. We start with 4 cups of chicken broth, 2 cups of whole milk, and 2/3 cup of heavy cream. I told you I like a nice creamy potato soup. That little bit of heavy cream is really gonna help keep things moving in the right direction. At this point, we're also going to want to add our spices. You're going to need 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper, and then this is my secret weapon. I love using ancho chili powder in my potato soup. If you don't have ancho chili powder, you can use regular chili powder, but this ancho chili powder has like a slightly sweet, smoky flavor, and I love using it. I usually start with 1/4 teaspoon and then taste test, and if I want to, I'll add another 1/4 teaspoon as well. We're just gonna stir everything together until it's nicely combined, and we're going to want this to come to a boil. Once everything is boiling, you're just going to want to stir occasionally, and you're going to cook this until your potatoes are tender when pierced with a fork. This usually takes about 10 minutes. All right, our potatoes are looking pretty good at this point, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna reduce our stovetop heat to a simmer, and we're going to continue to cook this while it's simmering for about 30 minutes. All right, now here is where the magic happens. We are going to puree about half of this soup, and that is going to make it so rich and creamy. Now, if you have an immersion blender, you're going to want to grab that, and I just like to use this to puree about half of the soup. I'll just eyeball it. If you don't have an immersion blender, well, you're gonna wanna get one, so I'll link to this one in the description because it's my favorite. I love using it. But if you don't have one, you can also just use a blender. You'll just remove about half of the soup to the blender. You'll wanna puree that, and then you'll return it to the pot. Let's go ahead and use our blender today though. All right, this is looking great. The house is smelling great. So now we are going to add our sour cream. You'll want to add 2/3 cup of sour cream, We're also gonna grab that bacon that we reserved from the beginning of this recipe, and we're gonna add that into the pot as well. And just stir everything together until it's nicely combined. And we're gonna let this soup simmer for 15 minutes before serving. After 15 minutes, we are ready to dig in. And that is how you make the ultimate creamy potato soup. Super simple, as you just saw. This thing is loaded with flavor, and it's also really good if you want to top it off with extra bacon or cheddar cheese or more sour cream or chives. All good options. I am just going to be eating it as is. All right, I hope you guys try this one out, and if you do, please let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. That's hot, but it is so good. Hey, if you guys enjoyed today's potato soup recipe, I would really appreciate it if you would give me a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Also, if you enjoyed today's recipe video, here are a few others you might like as well.